Hi friends, welcome back to imogenXstitch. My name is Imogen, my pronouns are they, them, and making her debut on this channel is my cat, Inara, who looked up when I said that. Amazing. Um, this is a channel about cross stitch. I also read tarot cards, and so that's how we start these videos. I got smart this time and shuffled right before starting to film, so we don't have to wait for that or edit around it. So, what? Today's card, again, is death, which is what we ended our last video on. So, again, this is about change and how we respond to change. So, the point here is not so much the Grim Reaper. The point are all these people around, around the outside. So, this king guy on the ground, it looks like he probably tried to resist the change and he just got trampled. Didn't work out for him. So this little kid with his naive innocence is just like, wow, a horse. This um, wiser person isn't even looking at the change. She's just like, okay, like tell me when the dust settles and I will handle it. And then the enlightened spiritual leader is the one who just sees the change coming, welcomes the change without any fear or resistance. So that is why the death card is about change. I realize I didn't really explain that last time. Um, so yeah, just how are you approaching change? How are you reacting to change that's coming up in your life? And just being cognizant of that. If you're resisting change, then you might be resisting growth that might be for your benefit. Hi, Inara. Um, so today I have two finishes to show you, and um, really I've mostly been focusing on two of my large projects. So I'm in this mood where I just want to sort of finish all of the small things and focus on the larger things. So that's been working out well. My first finish is Cosmic Dreams by Barbara Anna. She is teeny tiny, over 1 on 25 count. And the hair is all the called for colors because Barbara Anna is a genius with colors. I made the clouds a different color and the sun and the moon are different. I also made her dress Etoile, which is super. It's Etoile 823, which I don't know if other people feel this way, but the different colors of the DMC Etoile, some of them are way more sparkly than others. So this 823, that was very sparkly. Um, so here is my skin conversion and what the called for looks like. Um, so I will also put that in the description if you are interested in the skin conversion. I did, so this is on, like I said, over 1 on 25 count. Oops, hello, where am I? This is just a Zweigart on one of the printed fabrics. So on this side it is not sort of modeled. And on this side it is. I believe it's called Vintage Stormy Night. And I did this on the other side of the fabric that I did Dreaming Girl on last year, which I do have a perfect frame for her. So, whoop. Oh my gosh, I'm a nightmare today. I will frame her soon and talk about her separately. Oh my gosh, and my lighting makes her look terrible. Whatever. It is. We're finishing up a week of high 90s in the Portland area. So climate chaos is very real. What am I even talking about anymore? That was finish number one. I think I'm really happy with how the skin tone conversion came out. I had been trying to make her a little bit darker, but because of the way that the hair frames her face, it was just tricky to get her to have enough distinction between her face and her hair. So that's that. The other thing that I finished was this Schitt's Creek reference by Sassy Stitch Boutique on Etsy. So this is what the model looks like. I know last time I said let's just leave it as I have asked you. But no, that was not my intention to actually finish it that way. I did change the text slightly. So this is what I did. So I changed it to just I have asked you thrice because I feel like that's how we normally say it when we're referencing this. um, and so I just centered the word thrice and then I freehanded some of those little embellishment things to make it feel complete. So the black thread that I used is the Aurifil 12 weight floss that I've talked about before that I absolutely love because of that coverage. This fabric is a 32 count Zweigart in Azure Blue. There's the color. Um, and then for the word thrice, I used a Threadworks. It's number 01120 and it's called Foxy. So it's just a gray variegated, which seemed appropriate because David only wears black and white sweaters. So yeah, that is a finish. So 2 finishes this week, or this fortnight, or whatever the time period has been. Um, I did. Where are we going next? Whips. All right. I have been working a lot on my Heaven and Earth design. So this is what the original artwork looks like by Bridget Ashwood. I am removing the background manually. Sorry if you missed it. Hay did have a flash sale in the last few days, actually. I had, actually in the morning, I thought, I feel like Hay should, I just feel like Hate is having a sale or something. And so I pulled it up that morning, not on sale. And then a couple hours later, a friend of mine, Matt, MBC Stitcher, messaged me with, have you seen this? That there's a flash sale. So I had to just like refresh the tab and then it was on sale. So that was funny to me that there was like this psychic hit that I got a little bit premature, I guess. So all of that to say, I now have both the full coverage normal chart and also the no background chart from Hade. I have them both in Pattern Keeper, and I'm sort of just referencing the no background pattern when I'm not sure where I want to cut things. Um, but I'm glad that I have the full coverage version because it's at least I have the option, I guess, to add more. Whereas if I had only bought the no background chart, if I wasn't super happy with the edge, I wouldn't know what the full coverage version looked like. If that makes sense. That was very rambly. I'm sorry. Let me actually grab my whip. And of course, whip acronym for work in progress. Not actually grabbing a whip for y'all right now. Okay, so I feel like I've made really good progress on this. So this is where I am. My plan was to get these 2 top spokes in place and then get down to this knot in the middle. Let's pull that up again. There we go. Because my thought here is that if I'm working in the middle, I can slowly sort of work out to the other spokes instead of going like all the way around and then risking like if it would match. That just is too big of a risk for me. So, and also the thought there is that I want to stitch the holidays during the season, during their actual season. So like I want to be working on Yule during like the winter holiday season. And so if I get the center in place, that will give me the option to work in all of those sections as the years progress, because of course I'm not going to finish this in less than a year. So that is why I've gone all the way down on this one, and this is actually where the knot starts. So that's exciting. And I'm happy with how the background removal is going. There are places that I will go back and sort of finesse the edge. I'm trying to err on the side of fewer stitches because it's easier to add stitches than to remove them. Although the way that I park, I'm not really worried if I have to cut out a stitch. I'm not worried that that thread is going to come loose because of the way that I park. So there's that. But for example, this spoke gets like the outline stitches, it gets narrower around that like yellow orange section. um, because I just wasn't sure where the edge should go. So that was why I wanted the no background chart to compare it to. But I'm also very picky. So the no background chart is useful as a guide, but I can't really take it as scripture because of how picky I am. So I'm really happy with this. I really, really love that rainbow fade effect. It's just so pretty. The other large piece that I've been working on is my Teresa Wensler. I'm doing Fantasy Triptych, which looks like this in the model picture. I am changing the borders to be a gray tone and probably something with the characters themselves, but I have time before I get there because I'm just working on that beast of a castle right now. But I think I've made some really good progress since you saw it last time. Um, I have been actively working on this morning, so I have like active needles hanging off of this, but that's fine. So I am obviously working down on this outer wall of the castle. I really love how all of that shading has come in. And then I've started backstitching on the top of the castle. Of course, there are two colors of backstitch that I've used so far. At least it's simple though for this section for Teresa Wensler. I mean the instructions are simple. So the roofs and the windows use 413 and the rest of the castle uses 414. So slowly working on that as sort of in between the castle wall bits, just depending on my mood. I was very excited to get down to this green, although I recognize that the rest of this panel is all green. This is stitched on a 32 count lugana by Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. This is Once in a Blue Moon, and that's part of why I'm changing the borders colors to be grayscale to go better on the blue fabric. I liked the blue because that white around the castle is obviously not stitched, and I like it being a sky color, I guess. um, so lots of progress on this, especially for a Teresa Wensler. Some nights, honestly, I've gotten like I'll do like a strand or two of backstitch and then maybe one full cross, and that's all I do for the evening. Um, because I work on several different projects every day, and so sometimes this doesn't get anything, and sometimes like this morning I've done a fair amount. So um, yeah. Last and least, I did throw in a couple border sections on my Owl Forest Alice in Wonderland, which if you haven't seen this before, it's on Instagram. I'm doing a full sort of emo goth conversion of this one. Here's the full thing. It's huge. This is on 32 count Zweigart Dark Cobblestone lugana. Didn't even have the full thing in view. So, oh, actually, that's a good segue. So that very bottom carnivorous plant that I added, that guy, I did change the colors. I grunged it up, but that is a chart by Lola Crow, who has a stitch along that just started that I'm very excited about. Mystery stitch along. It's called Haunted Library Sal. Aha. So this is what part one looks like. And oh my gosh, am I definitely stitching this. If you don't already follow her, go follow her on Etsy. Her shop is right there, Lola Crow Cross Stitch. That's also her Instagram handle. I love everything she's designed. It's just so cool, the stuff she designs. So I'm definitely stitching this. I have spent a lot of time thinking about fabric. And I think I've made a decision, but I'm not sure if I'm going to start yet or wait until more parts have been released. Last year, I realized that mystery stitch alongs are just not really my cup of tea because I am so picky. That's actually not my hesitation with this one. I love everything that she does, so I'm confident that I will love this whole pattern. Let me explain to you why I might wait by showing you my fabric. Okay, so about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, I was trying to figure out what my next Heaven and Earth design chart would be after a finish, and I was just fascinated with this one, which I still just love it. This is called Fay Risque. The original artist is Amy Brown, but I thought that I didn't want to stitch the background because I wanted to do the full chart, and so I was looking for fabric to do this work for me. I have since realized that I think this one, the background would be important to me. Just the way that it frames that main image is important. Um, and I want to stitch all of my heights on 25 count lugana, and it's just really hard to find an even weave that gets as dark as those corners get. So all of that to say, if I ever stitch this, I will stitch that background. But before I made that decision about the background, while I was looking for fabric that could potentially do the work for me, I ordered this hand-dyed fabric from Jody Redesigns, which if I'm mispronouncing that, please let me know. I don't see this one on their website anymore, so it might not be offered anymore, but this is called Night Sky, and it's an opalescent lugana, 25 count, um, with like 3 bands of color. It starts with this light, sort of purple undertoned gray. I don't really see the transition into medium, which is fine, but then there's this sort of line before the dark part, which I think is really cool. Just wasn't what I was looking for that Heaven and Earth design pattern. All of that to say, I have this wonderful fabric that I'm really excited to have that is beautiful, and I could not for the life of me think of what I would ever use it for with that sort of line in the middle. But I realized that on this new Lola Crow stitch along, that I think this could be really cool. So, I had been thinking about this all along, like light to dark at the bottom. But for this, I think dark at the top down to lighter would be really cool. I'm thinking that I would want that transition line to be above that railing at the top. And this is why I don't know if I'm going to start stitching yet. I don't know exactly where I want that line to hit, right? I love this idea. I think this will look really cool. I'm just so picky that I worry if I start it where I think I want that line to go, other parts would be released and I would still like it, but it wouldn't be like I would make a different choice if I knew what was coming. So we'll see. I should also maybe say that I did confirm with that designer that there are no blends, there are no partial stitches. You can totally stitch this over one. So I'm excited about that. I really love that the stitch along piece, that there's not like a big frame with borders, because I just never do those. So I love that the pieces of this are incorporated within the larger picture. There's like gaps in a staircase where clearly other parts will come in. I think that's just a super cool idea. So I've got all the floss. I've got my fabric and my backup fabrics. And now I just decide, maybe I just wait 4 weeks for the next part. I don't know, but someday I will be stitching that for sure. I did buy several mill hills in the last couple of weeks. I realized that I like those and I want some of those going. So I got this buttons and beads autumn bench, which I might start today, honestly. I am ready for fall. And then I got a couple of things that will be Christmas gifts. Little moose magnet and a little gnome house. I think this one is fairly new. And then an autumn harvest collection, which I just love this owl's little face looking at that spider like, what happened? And then I got the loveliest Happy Mail package that honestly, like, this is wrapped so well that I have literally just had this sitting on my counter for a week because it makes me happy just looking at look at how perfectly this is wrapped. Like, everything is so flat. Everything is, all the corners are so lovely. This has literally just been sitting on my counter making me happy. I don't even need to open it. This is from Helen, the Ditty Stitcher, who is just a magical human. And now that I've opened all of this stuff, it also makes me happy. So Helen sent me some 32 count Zweigart linen, this sparkle silver, which I was honestly just eyeing yesterday, so that's awesome. And then some sweet little pins and needle minders. This one says, put on your positive pants. Some earrings, and the teeny tiniest little framed It's You I Like stitched in metallic thread. I'm gonna have to ask her if this is petite treasure braid or or what, but holy crap. And well finished with a magnet and everything. Like, oh my god. That's amazing. That's amazing. I'll have to find a home for that. Thank you, Helen. I think that's all I have. My cat has joined us to say goodbye. We're going to turn on the air conditioning now. So, I hope you have a lovely couple of weeks, and I will see you next time. Bye!